Hello students, I was continuing with the fundamental rights and we were doing certain restrictions of different fundamental rights. Today we will start with freedom of movement. So this freedom entitles every citizen of India to move freely within the Indian Union. He can move freely from one state to another or from one place to another within a state. This right underlines the idea that India is one unit so far as the citizens are concerned. So there should not be any restriction for any citizen to move within the state of India. Thus the purpose is to promote national feeling and not parochialism. So national feeling is the first priority. The ground of imposing reasonable restrictions on this freedom are two, namely the interest of general public and the protection of the interest of any scheduled tribe. The entry of outsiders in tribal areas is restricted to protect the distinctive culture, language, custom and manners of scheduled tribes, to safeguard their traditional vocation and properties against exploitation. The Supreme Court held that the freedom of movement of some type of people can be restricted on the ground of public health and in the interest of the public morale. The Bombay High Court violated the restrictions on the movement of persons affected by AIDS. So people who are affected by AIDS, they cannot move here and there freely. The freedom of movement has two dimensions: internal rights, right to move inside the country, and external right to move out of the country, and right to come back to the country. Article 19 protects only the first dimension. The second dimension is dealt by Article 21, right to life and personal liberty. Then freedom of residence. Every citizen has the right to settle in any part of the territory of India. This right has two parts: the right to reside in any part of the country, which means to stay at any place temporarily, and the right to settle in any part of the country, which means to set up a home or domicile at any place permanently. This right is intended to remove internal barriers within the country or between any of its parts. This promotes nationalism and avoids narrow-mindedness. Next we have the freedom of profession. Freedom of profession prescribes that professional or technical qualifications necessary for practicing any profession or carrying out any occupation, trade or business, and carry on by itself any trade, business, industry or service, whether to the exclusion, that is complete or partial, of citizens or otherwise. But this right does not include the right to carry on profession or business or trade or occupation that is immoral, trafficking in women or children, or dangerous, harmful drugs or explosions. The state can absolutely prohibit these or regulate them through licensing. Then we have protection of conviction for offence and protection of life and personal property we have discussed. Now within right to Article 21 there are so many rights included, like right to live with human dignity, right to decent environment including pollution free water and air and protection against hazardous industries, right to livelihood, right to privacy, right to shelter, right to health, and many, around 35-36 are there. Most important, you have to remember right to education. Article 21A declares that the state shall provide free and compulsory education to all children of the age of 6 to 14 years in such a manner as the state may determine. Thus, this provision makes only elementary education a fundamental right and not higher or professional education. This provision was added by the 86th Constitutional Amendment Act of 2002. This amendment is a major milestone in the country's aim to achieve education for all. The government described this step as the dawn of the second revolution in the chapter of citizens' rights. Even before this amendment, The Constitution contained a provision for free and compulsory education for children under Article 45 in Part 4. However, being a directive principle, it was not enforceable. So, the problem was that it was mentioned in the directive principle, and as you know, the directive principles are not enforceable. So, it was made a part of the fundamental right. Now, there is a scope for judicial intervention in this regard. As it is being made a fundamental right, now there is a judicial intervention, because if the fundamental rights are violated, then one can go to the court. Next, we have protection against arrest and detention. So, a person who can be arrested, there are certain provisions that the right to be informed of the ground of arrest. A person arrested, he should be informed the ground of his arrest. A right to consult and be defended by a legal practitioner. So, a person who has been convicted, even he has the right to defend himself by the help of a legal practitioner. A right to be produced before a person arrested has to be produced within 24 hours before a magistrate. The police can arrest him, but the police will have to produce him in front of the judge or a magistrate within 24 hours, including the time of journey, and the right to be released after 24 hours unless the magistrate authorizes further detention. So, the person has to be immediately released. Next, we have the right against exploitation. Oh, one more thing is preventive detention. Preventive Detention Act 1950 expired in 1969. Then Maintenance of Internal Security Act 1971 repealed in 1978. Conservation of Foreign Exchange and Prevention of Smuggling Activities Act, which is known as COFEPOSA, in 1974. National Security Act NASA in 1980. Prevention of Black Marketing and Maintenance of Supplies of Essential Commodities, PBM-SECA. Terrorist and Disruptive Activities. Okay, these are not required for you people. Next, we have right against exploitation, that is prohibition of traffic in human beings and forced labor. This is also very important. Article 23 prohibits trafficking in human beings, beggar, forced labor and other similar forms of forced labor. Any contravention of this provision shall be an offence punishable in accordance with law. After that, we have prohibition of employment of children in factories. Article 24 prohibits the employment of children below the age of 14 years in any factory, mine or other hazardous activities like construction work or railway, but it does not prohibit their employment in any harmless or innocent work. Right to freedom of religion. Here also we have freedom of conscience, inner freedom of an individual to mold his relation with God or creature in whatever way he desires. Right to profess declaration of one's religious belief in faith openly and freely. Right to practice performance on religious worship, rituals, ceremonies and exhibitions of belief and ideas. Right to propagate. So, every citizen has the right to preach, practice, profess and propagate his or her own religion. Then we have cultural and educational rights. Protection of interest of minorities. Article 29 provides that any section of the citizens residing in any part of India having a distinct language, script or culture of it shall have the right to conserve the same. And the last, we have the right to constitutional remedy, which is the most important. It is known as the heart and soul of the fundamental rights. The right to move the Supreme Court by appropriate proceeding for the enforcement of the fundamental rights. The Supreme Court shall have power to issue direction or orders or writs for the enforcement of any of the fundamental rights. The writs issued may include habeas corpus, mandamus, prohibition, certiorari and quo warranto. Parliament can empower any other court to issue directions, orders and writs of all kind. However, this can be done with necessary prejudice. So, only at present the High Court and the Supreme Court can issue writs, but now other courts can also do. Any other court here does not include High Court, because Article 226 has already conferred these powers on the High Court. So, already according to Article 226, High Court can issue writs, and the right to move the Supreme Court shall not be suspended except as otherwise provided for by the Constitution. Next we will discuss about the next day. In my next video we will discuss about the differences between fundamental rights and directive principles. Till then, all of you go through the video, read it thoroughly, see the video, take care of yourself. Goodbye.